Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I'm so happy to be here this evening and to share with this beautiful practice of a Buddhist-inspired approach to recovery, which in some ways begs the question, what is recovery? And one of the things that I've been endeavoring to do in the 10 years that I've been offering Buddhist-inspired practices is to really reimagine how we think about recovery. And some of the language that I bring forward is we are here to recover and understand our relationship to habit energy. And habit energy is oh so very human. It's just part of the human experience, and it manifests in many, many ways. Some people have habit energy related to drugs and alcohol. Some people have habit energy related to food, exercise, work, social media, shopping. So many different ways that we're trying to cope, albeit maladaptively, to the stressors and traumas of being human. So one of the things that the Buddhist practice does, I think, beautifully, is it allows us an opportunity to diffuse the light on our habit energy. Instead of having a glaring spotlight on our substance use, for instance, and the negative behaviors associated with it, and the destruction, and the shame, and the humiliation, and we can just pound that nail again and again. Rather than do that, there's a practice of sort of zooming out, diffusing that light a little bit, so that we can understand the conditions of craving. Why am I tempted to return to some kind of self-soothing habit? What's going on? What are the conditions in my life? And what are the options so I can do something different? Instead of engaging a habit that I know has negative consequences. And so what we are recovering is our understanding of all of those components, all of those elements. This practice is complex and highly personal. And so we are each carving our own way. And that's exciting and a little bit daunting. And I, as a facilitator, am here to remind you that you have everything you need and you are everything you need. We begin our practice today in the month of June by exploring the Noble Eightfold Path. And we're exploring the first elements on this path. This is fundamental and foundational to a Buddhist practice. It complements the fourth noble truth in Buddhism, which is that there's a way to understand the conditions of our discomfort, to understand what causes us to suffer, to understand the way that we act out, the way that we project, the way that we deny, the way that we hustle, all the maladaptive coping strategies that we've used for a long, long time. And this way is called the Noble Eightfold Path. And that word, eightfold, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful image. I often like to think of the folding of this as unfurling, really, almost like an opening of a peony flower, layers and layers and layers, opening, peeling, unfolding, some on top of each other, some curled into each other. The point is that each of these 8 elements overlap, they coincide, they weave together, they complement one another. This is one of the things about a Buddhist practice that I cherish, which is its non-linearity. We're not here to tackle the first element and then the second and then the third. We're simply opening up to what these are and how they come alive in us. For our practice today, I just want to introduce these concepts slowly, reverently, and invite plenty of pause so that you can breathe these ideas into your own being and allow them to swirl around and come alive in your experience. So in this moment of silence, let's drop into the body, this beautiful companion for the mind and the heart, and check in with your body and make sure that your body is in a posture to receive this practice. Invite the body to relax. If you want to lie down, please do. We never get enough rest on the journey of recovery. And even if you fall asleep, the beauty of wisdom is it enters into the body, through your skin, into your cells, singing your bones. Arrive fully to yourself, breathing in, breathing out. I'd like to share with you an image of the Noble Eightfold Path that has served me on my own journey and my practices of Buddhism over the years. I grew up in New England. I grew up near beautiful woods with many, many pathways. And I often bring forward those paths. But on those paths, I place a signpost with all of the 8 elements, the 8 aspects on the Noble Path here. And what I love about it, about this particular signpost, is there are multiple arrows leading in every which direction, meaning there's no wrong way. Even when I wander from the main path, I can tell myself a story that I'm lost, and it might be true, but the truth is there's something there still for me to discover. And the nobility of this path is I'll always find my way back. So I don't have to be militant. I don't have to keep on a straight and narrow path, I can meander and wander. I can take a little sneaky peek, rabbit hole if I want to. Part of recovering is opening to wonder and joy. You may find that being intentionally lost, you discover aspects of yourself that you may not have otherwise seen. So the first signpost on the noble path here is wise intention. And this really is an important bookmark or bookend on the Noble Eightfold Path, because it invites us to begin a self-inquiry process. What am I doing? Where am I going? Why am I doing this? What is my motivation? Is my intention realistic? Achievable? Or is my intention yet another expression of sabotage? We do that sometimes, don't we? I do. I set myself up all the time. One of my more curious sabotages and stories I tell myself is I'm not a very good gardener. It's a fascinating story. I've been repeating this one for ages. And it's true. But the truth is, I'm also an amazing gardener. I just have a tractor that tills up these giant areas that I can't possibly keep up with. So I just simply make gardens that are too big for one aging woman to deal with. But what I deal with is pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. I'm just kind of an overachiever. So my intention when I set out to garden now is to manage it in a way that I can feel happy and joyful and celebratory, as opposed to looking at my gardens as a source of lack in me, failure. What is your intention? What is your motivation? The second aspect on the Noble Eightfold Path is wise understanding. For me, the nobility of this invitation, wise understanding, is to pause a moment, to stand very still, to look up into the cosmos and to allow myself to be humbled. I will never understand it all. I won't even come close. And that's not to say that I won't understand anything. Sometimes the mind can be very dualistic. Well, if I am not able to understand everything, then I'm not able to understand anything. And that's a pretty young reaction. I cannot understand everything. And there is a lot I can understand. So this is an invitation to open up, to broaden the perspective, to be curious about your beliefs and fixations, your points of view, and to see if you can bring in some understanding from a different angle and see how that affects you. One of the important things to remember, friends, is that when we engage with wise understanding, we're not here to use that understanding as more weaponizing toward ourselves, nor are we here to broaden the mind and increase our knowledge and understanding such that we feel superior to others. We are here to enact understanding so that we can connect with one another in more authentic, true ways. We are engaging understanding to enact love. The third signpost on this beautiful path is wise action. How do you want to put your intention and your understanding of your intention and its conditions and yourself into an action? Are you someone who waits for life to happen to you? Or are you someone who dances with life, engages life, goes with life? These are wise actions. For the record, one of the most disturbing stigmas and attitudes that I hear in circles of recovery and support is the accusation that people in recovery are becoming addicted to going to meetings. You may have even said that yourself. I'm addicted to going to meetings. I go to meetings all the time. And I would gently urge you to reframe that language, because it's highly stigmatizing and it's diminishing to one's actions and one's efforts, which are wise. To go to meetings, to be in a community of connection and belonging, to understand oneself, to want to look at the conditions of why we're engaging habit energy and the struggles and challenges that are here, is an extraordinarily virtuous act. I think everyone should be coming to recovery meetings all the time. What an extraordinary habit energy to cultivate. So when I have heard that accusation come my way, my favorite thing to say in response, not in reaction, in response is, thank you. Julia, this must be part of your addictive personality. You're addicted to going all these meetings. I know, thank you. It is the way I engage in virtuous, wise action. Thank you for noticing. And then I let a little silence between us exist so that person can reflect on their own intention of why lob that accusation at me when I am doing something really good. And that brings me to our fourth aspect on this noble path, a signpost with arrows pointing in all kinds of directions. And this one is wise speech. And for this evening and for this reflection, I simply want to invite you to look at the way you talk to yourself and apply the other signposts, apply the other nuggets of wisdom. When you catch yourself speaking to yourself, it doesn't matter if it's a positive and encouraging way, manner, or a negative manner. Catch yourself. Notice that you're talking to yourself. You're allowing that inner voice some time. And then begin to practice and inquire, would you look at this? I wonder what my intention is for speaking to myself this way. Can I gain access to a little bit of understanding of what's motivating that, what's behind that, what's fueling it? What do I think I'm going to get out of this? How do I feel as I'm listening to myself? Would I talk to someone else this way? Wise action. Do something about it. If you're barking at yourself, if you're shredding yourself to pieces, pause. Insert a little bit of kindness. Yikes, that was rough. That was harsh, Julia. Darling, what is going on? Likewise, when I'm my own cheerleader, the action is to take that enthusiasm and plant it somewhere. Watch your speech. Watch your words. Watch the way you speak to yourself. Notice your tone. The Noble Eightfold Path. These are guides encouraging you to recover the magnificence of you. Okay. Friends, friends, friends. And for now, let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. To have the intention to recover our true selves, to dig ourselves out from layers of unskillfulness, misconduct, abuse. To have an intention to pull ourselves out is enough. To gain understanding in the process is a gift. To bring that enoughness and that gift into an action is peace. And to wrap it all together in words of encouragement and affection and joy is love. This is the practice. This is the invitation. This is why we're here. And we're allowing it to enter into our hearts and minds so that it can radiate out to touch people who may not even see us. Randy shared this evening that there was a time in his life where maybe people were saying hello to him and he never noticed. But something changed. So to be that change, to radiate that goodness, to share it, this gives meaning to this wonderful mystery of life. Thank you for being here tonight, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.